We start off the assessors meeting telling you that this meeting is being recorded. I did
Good
it.
job.
See, I did it first time. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
See, I want to start the new year off right, saying the meeting was recorded. Go ahead, Joanne.
Well, we did better than Kamala. They at least remembered the Pledge of Allegiance that she couldn't remember. Did you see that on tape?
No.
Oh, yeah,
I
it was
did,
kinda-
yeah, that was
kinda
awful.
funny. Yeah, ugh. All right, I make a motion to approve the minutes for December 13th,
2024.
2024.
Second. Unanimous. Although there's some good waterfront for sale in California if you're,
Oh, I know, yeah, unreal.
pretty good views now.
Oh, I
Those
make a
poor
motion
people.
to approve the motor vehicle excise tax abatements month of December for the amount of $1,090.87.
Second.
Unanimous.
I make a motion to approve FY 2025 actual real estate commitment of $9,380,496.82.
Second.
Unanimous.
Make a motion to approve FY 2025 actual personal property commitment in the amount of $244,960.92.
Second.
Unanimous.
Okay, we're up to old business.
But let me, for FYI, for the two people that are watching us, we got our real estate commitment, and the total value of the town is $1,777,035,200. But of that, we've got schools and churches, $1,195,700. I'm not used to these big numbers.
No.
Is taxable. So we will collect $17,661, $371.16. Why can't I say that? $17,661,371.16.
There you
Did that come
go.
out right that
Yeah,
time?
nice.
Okay. See, you told me the coffee machine's broken. I'm all shook up.
I have a quick question here. Our tax rate, did it go up? And what did it go up to?
It was 1048, it went up to 1057.
So, in essence, people should not be upset with their tax bills? Is that accurate?
Yeah, it went up 8 cents, but the values are continuing to increase.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing any leveling out yet.
yeah.
Is our coefficient of dispersion within 10%? Doesn't seem it. I'm looking at things that are assessed for 400, selling for 6.
You talk about the ASI, the assessment to sales ratio?
Yes,
Yeah, those, they're out of whack.
yeah, I know.
I can't keep up with them.
I understand. Well, we never catch values as they're going up, and we never catch them as they're going down, because we're a year and a half behind.
What's nice though is when I did these in 2023 for these tax bills, I'm 9 months into the new calendar year. So we're allowed to see what the market's doing
Yep, yep.
and account for that too, so.
Good.
So we shouldn't be seeing a lot of people screaming that, oh my God, our taxes have gone way. We're actually holding pretty good. So-
And the value is what it is, it's the tax rate that's dictating, from the budget, that's dictating their taxes.
Yeah, so it's about spend, people still don't get it.
Well, you
It's
just
what
take that,
spend.
you take that 17 million,
Yeah,
B's and M's, and you divide it into what we need, and that's what the tax rate is.
And we do not set the tax rate.
No, God, no.
Everybody thinks the assessors set the tax rate. It's not us. We do the assessed values, then when the town does the budget, and that's where we get the tax rate from.
and then people should pay attention to things they're entitled to for different kinds of abatements and adjustments that they can get. Just mention some of the things that people are eligible for.
So they're eligible, we have 5 different exemptions, maybe 6. And if they're not happy with their value, what do, David?
Playing on social media.
Yeah, you,
Get an abatement. February
get
1st.
an abatement, come in, we'll be happy to go out. and
Yeah,
look at
he
the
brought up
house.
a good point. You only have 30 days when you get your tax bill to file an abatement, so please,
February 1st is the deadline.
that's Massachusetts law, it's not Dudley law. You have 30 days, and we get audited, so,
So if you had a shed that you took down and you didn't take a demolition permit out, I'm not gonna know, and you come in and you go, I have a shed that I took down, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna see that the shed's gone, I'm gonna take it off.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna, if you're not happy with your assessment, you do like David did. You go, you find, you have to prove that my assessment is incorrect. So you have to go out and find comps for your house from calendar year 2023.
that's right, I'm just gonna say that from, as of January 1st,
Of
2023.
Right. And then.
Not this year, but back then.
Right. And you have to show me the comps that show that my assessment is incorrect.
Yeah.
And you can't compare ranches to colonials and colonials to
Yeah, it's gonna be
capes.
apples to apples.
Yeah.
Colonials to colonials, ranches to ranches.
You don't want to compare a waterfront if you're on West Main Street.
Can you explain that some of these exemptions or that people will be able to get are entitled to what their incomes are relative to as part of it? It's not that we don't want to do it, it's that there are certain things that they have to meet.
Well, there's guidelines.
These are the guidelines of the state of Massachusetts.
Right.
So some have income and asset requirements, and some have just asset
They
requirements.
have got to address that issue because they're so damn low now. Those are the same
Poverty
numbers from
level.
30 years ago.
Yeah. Might go up 2% every year for the income,
Yeah.
if that.
And I think that our office has always been very friendly. You've done a great job in staff as far as being able to talk to people and explain when they do come in, how it all works. It's not like we say, oh, you better read this yourself.
But we even go further than that. We send out the forms for the people, for the elderly especially, so they won't forget.
And if they don't return it, we send a letter. If they don't return it the second time, I call them,
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
what kind of town does that?
I know it. And then the other thing that always comes up, and I'll get people who complain, is when it comes to people who have income property, what is the purpose of the form they have to fill out, giving the information to the assessors? Why do you need that? And then what happens when they don't?
For apartment units, you have to fill out the income and expense report because that's one of our approaches to value. If you don't fill it out and you're residential, you get fined $50. If you're a business, it's
Plus-
$250.
Plus, you're denied any abatement request.
Right.
So
You're
if you
not-
don't fill that out, they can't get an abatement?
Nope, that's state law.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, I understand, you know, the businesses they don't want their information out there, nobody sees it. It's just keyed into the computer by vision to come up with the income approach. Nobody looks at it, but a lot of these big businesses would have like their accountant do the
Yep,
form for
right,
them, and
right.
it costs more than the $250 fine.
Right?
So they either don't want us to have the information, or they just like, yeah, just pay the fine. So we don't get a lot of good information
No.
from those forms, because a lot of people have difficulty filling them out.
Yeah.
You know, you're supposed to put in there what the tenant is paying and what the landlord's paying, and they don't know what the, they don't know what the bills are of the tenants. They're not gonna go ask their tenants,
No.
which I understand, so.
Yeah, I think people need to understand process lots of times, that the assessors, they have guidelines that have to be followed, and that's just the way that it is. It's not anything we can change. We have to be in compliance. So, and when they supply data, we're able to stay on top of recent sales and see what's going on in the market, that we can do adjustments and can understand when it's time that values need to go up. But there are some things we need the input of our people to be able to stay
Well, also,
on.
Lisa's been able to tap into our resources, being in the real estate business, so
Right.
she's been able to stay current.
Right.
So do we have anything upcoming that people should really know about?
So they do need to know about 800 or 900 letters went out for the cyclicals, and that letter basically is the information that's on your fields card, your interior data, you know, heating systems, do you have central air, what's your flooring, the age of your home, and that's in lieu of us getting into your house and doing an interior inspection. That started with the whole COVID thing going on. People weren't letting us in the houses, so we send that out, and on their honor, they make adjustments if need be or not. That's the
Well,
first step.
You have to, there is a, if you file for an abatement, we have to do an interior inspection.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So, I mean, we won't go by your word, or,
right.
we have to by law
If you
do
file for the
interior-
abatement,
right.
we have to do interior, exterior. And so then these are gonna be followed up, they're starting next Thursday. Josh is gonna be going out, he's from Vision, he's gonna be doing all the physical inspections, interior, exterior.
Does he wear a tag and his car have a sign
So
on it?
he's, I registered him with the police department with a letter, with his name, who he is, his license plate number, the color of his car. He has a badge, and I believe he has magnets on the outside of his car
Good,
saying he's from the
good.
assessor's office. But if anybody's nervous, just call the office or call the police. I have the list of streets that they're doing, what maps they're going out to. But he definitely has clear identification.
When I was talking about the town's value of $1,777,000,000, over 90% of that is residential values. I'm just looking here.
93%, I believe. it
Yeah.
is.
So, I mean, there's no way you can do a split tax rate. It would just hurt the few businesses that we have.
It'd be rough.
Yeah. So, again, that's why if people are wondering why we don't have a split tax rate, this town is comprised 93% of residential, so the other 7% doesn't do much to lower your tax rate.
And the people back up on social media saying, you know, their taxes went up $1,000 or whatever. They're still, no matter what I do, they're still comparing their quarters.
Yeah, I know that.
So I put,
ahead.
I sent David the article I put in the Ask the Assessor article for the Webster Times that lays it all out on exactly how to calculate it. I'm putting some on the counter so when people come in, they can take it. And then they can go home and they can look at their taxes and do the formula and figure out the numbers. So
Again,
Dave was nice enough to put it on the Dudley forum because people were complaining, so he put that out there so they
Yeah,
can
I
see
mean,
it.
just to further amplify on that, the first two tax bills you get are based upon last year's. They are not the new tax rate.
It's estimated from the entire taxes from the prior year.
Right. So it has nothing to do with the new tax rate, and that's the problem. When you see, you get your third quarter bill, you think your taxes jumped up exponentially, and they didn't.
They're just playing catch-up.
Right.
How are we doing in the office from when we were down, not having a clerk and being caught up on paperwork that needs
So
to
much
get
better.
done?
It's so much better, but, you know, these cyclicals kill us. I mean, I have a stack of returns about this big, so we have to stamp them in, put them in the spreadsheet, put it in the visit history and vision, and then make any changes. And now Josh is gonna go out and he's gonna do every single one of those properties. And if there's changes, those all have to be keyed in, and then they have to have another visit history. So these projects are on top of everything else. You know, income and expense reports went out, 3 ABC charitables went out, personal property went out. That's all coming in too. So this is a rough time of year for us. And then add the cyclicals on top of it. But we're keeping up, knock on wood, we're keeping up.
And do people truly understand what is the role of an assessing department, that without us, we don't get an income stream coming in?
We don't assess.
I don't think
Nobody collects.
all the selectmen understand the function of the assessors.
I called them all up one day when I lost Mary. And I said, do you know what I do?
Well, and the other part I think that is a wake-up call is when you look at California. I know we all want to keep our tax rate low, but when you cut certain functions that you need,
Mean 17 million to the fire department? Yeah.
exactly, then you may find that you've shot
sign
yourself in the foot.
Well,
But on-
I mean,
Anywhere.
there was no coordination. I mean, the electric
Just
company
sign
shut off the electricity to the water pumps, and what a disaster.
I mean, unfortunately, there are some basics we can't manage to cut corners on. And it's the cost of living in a community and being part of a community and having the safety that we need to have. I mean, I think that's pretty scary what's going on out there.
We've always tried to keep our assessments low. And then over the years, I got a little bit more aggressive because you could see the market going up. If I didn't get a little bit more aggressive, I probably wouldn't have gotten our values approved.
Well, you know, you remember when the values went down, and Joanne and I said, hey, look, your condo values are not market value, I mean, that could have just screwed up our whole abatement money that we had.
The Wysocki people are coming in. I've been here long enough to see that they were like 150 to 175,000 back in the day. And then
Oh,
they
no,
dropped.
they were 75 to 80,000.
Yeah.
No, but then it dropped. Then they couldn't sell it for 60,000,
Right,
70,000.
right.
Now they're back up to 1.25.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
You know, and one lady came in, she's been there for 37 years, and she's never done a single thing, and it's 125,000. So I think what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take a relook at those condos, because I believe there are some people that have done complete remodels.
Yeah.
And I think they may be being assessed the same as the others, because we never get in those.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, how do you
So
know
I-
they did a remodel? They don't pull a permit,
No.
so.
So a big part of the job, people don't realize it, is being ahead of the game. That when you are not proactive the way that you are, then we're lagging behind what we should, and then they do get shell shocked when it does happen.
Well, and then the Department of Revenue comes down on us
Yeah.
because
Well,
our
back in the-
values aren't.
Back in the day, remember, we'd do a mass reval project.
Yeah.
And then nothing for 2 years.
Right.
And then another mass reval.
Yeah.
So if your assessment during the first reval was really high, you were stuck with that high value for 3 years.
Yeah.
That just happened in Thompson. People are getting
No, no.
nailed in
Oh, I
Thompson
know.
because they went, I don't know if they're 3 years or 5 years.
I think they're 10.
Is it 10? And
Yes.
they just got hammered this year. They were up in arms.
Well, they used to be 10. I shouldn't say, I don't know now.
So now that's why I liked the fact that the DOR said, do these interims in between to keep up with the market.
Right.
And I like the fact that they did, instead of the revals every 3 years, they're every 5 years. So we do those mini revals in between just to keep up with the market.
Yep.
Because the first thing you learn as an assessor is the assessments have to be at fair cash value.
And there's confusion on that. I had a fellow buy a piece of property from me, and he said, the sales price is not now my new assessed value. I said, no, that's spot assessing, we can't do that. So, as a matter of fact, I asked you what it might go up to, and I think it was $30,000 increase in assessed value, which was $30 in tax money.
Right.
So, so that's, people think that the sales price is now your assessed value, and it's not.
And I try to educate everybody that comes to my counter, hoping that word of mouth, it'll get out there when
Yeah.
somebody says, like, you know, I went up $1,000. If they call me on the phone and I explain it to them, they go back on social media and go, hey, wait a minute. You know, that's not how it's done, to educate the people on social media. Because I don't like the fact that people are thinking that we're just way over assessing everybody just to get money for the town. They don't understand the process we have to go through, the hoops we have to jump through with the DOR, all the statistical reports. People don't realize that every time I make a change to a property, say I have to add a half bath to your property, I have to report that to the Department of Revenue. Every change I make, value change, I have to report it.
And then you have to report it to the reval company. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing the amount of paperwork that's because of a half bath or whatever.
We used to have what we call a column D change. We had to report even the negative values. So if I took a bath out and it dropped the value 2,300, I had to have that on a spreadsheet, and I had to give the spreadsheet to the DOR. And I had to make sure I could explain every single change that was made, negative or positive. So they take the new growth one, I have to put an explicit comments of why that value increased, you know, single-family house at 50%, or,
Lisa, I go back to when the assessors sat down with the town accountant and we did the recap sheet.
that was before me.
Oh, yeah, I know. We had to chase everybody to get their numbers. That was interesting.
Yeah. It's much
But then we
better
got
now.
paid then too.
Yeah.
Yes, now everything's volunteer. I have a quick question. Have we allocated anything in budget now for education, like for our clerk? Or our, I don't know, we don't call them a clerk anymore, whatever they are.
She is assessor's clerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we have money in the budget to do that.
Well, you
because
have
that's
to do
critical.
continuing ed.
Yeah, I just made it by the skin of my teeth. I didn't make it by the deadline in September. But they let me extend it out another month because I went to a conference, you know, but, now it's every 2 years, not every 3 years.
And that's the thing, we don't go to conferences anymore.
No, I know it.
we're just so far behind.
How do you even get out to a conference when you got too much work to do?
Well,
But you need
that's-
your education credits.
Well, even to keep, I truly don't understand all that we're doing with, when we're doing solar and how all of that is coming into play, because we don't get some of that information where we used to be able to go to
Well, we
the
used to talk,
conference.
well, we'd talk to have all the other assessors at the conferences.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in town?
So we do rely on you a lot more and can't be supportive of some of that part because we're not as hands-on
Right.
because of what we've had to do on budget cuts. Not that we don't read, but still, getting it from the people who
Hey,
would.
we're volunteers.
I know,
You know?
you kind of work full-time too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it's interesting. I think people don't understand that we have been very fortunate that when you do have good people, and we haven't had a turnover in our assessor like other towns have had. We've had some clerical staff that
Oh,
have
my
turned
gosh.
over.
Lisa could have gone to so many different towns and gotten an extra $20,000 or $25,000 a year.
Alex is leaving Oxford,
Oh,
and I
boy.
thought about it,
Yeah,
because I'm retiring in 3 years.
yeah. Wow.
And I thought about it, and I'm like, nah, I like my people here. I like my veterans, I like my seniors, I like who I work with. It's not all about the
There's a
money.
reason why there's a turnover in Oxford. I mean, it's musical assessors there.
Yeah. Well, I guess Alex is leaving because he wants to start his own data collection business.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting,
Yeah.
but I think we're very fortunate that we haven't had that kind of turnover, and continuity means a lot
my
to
gosh.
you in doing some of this. So I for one, want to say, I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate that you keep ahead of the game, and you try and keep us posted so that we're more knowledgeable on what we need to know. We are hands-on, which can help as far as understanding the values, but the technical part, I'm just not up on, that you need to do.
But before we adjourn, cyclical letters have been mailed out, and inspections of your homes will start on January 16th, 2025.
and he'll be out there for, I think, 1 week a month for right now. And he takes pictures of every single property too, so we have to download those.
Yep.
Update those in the computer.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but we used to go out and take pictures as of 1/1 on all of the houses, all the building permits. Jeez.
I had a schedule, I said, I'm gonna start at this street, and I'm gonna go house to house to house. That lasted about a month, and I'm like, I can't keep up with this.
So we have a meeting on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Is everybody gonna be able to make it?
I'm good for that.
Me too, as long as Lisa brings us some chocolates.
Well, then I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Unanimous. Have a great day, Dudley.